What's going on, guys? TGKS Productions. This video is a buying, customization, and review of the Buckingham Weaponized Conada, a brand new attack helicopter added to GTA Online. This is drip feed content from the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC. In any case, if you enjoy this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing. Let's get right into it. As always with these videos, let's start off where you can purchase this vehicle, and that is from the Warstock Cash and Carry site. It has a price tag of almost $3.4 million. We'll talk about this price a little bit more later in this video. And you do need to own a hangar to be able to purchase and customize this vehicle. This vehicle's counterpart is an MD-969 twin attack helicopter. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at it once we exit the hangar. It's a little bit easier to see. Moving right into customization, this aircraft has everything, or at least the essentials that all hangar-stored aircraft have, which is the armor, engine upgrades, as well as even handling upgrades. The highlight of the customization really comes down to the liveries. There are 20 in total, and they all resemble the liveries that were originally added in the gun running update. However, there are some unique emblems and registration codes that you wouldn't see when applying these liveries to the gun running vehicles, and even a handful of other vehicles that have these liveries. And I did end up changing the respray just because when I was looking at the liveries, it didn't seem as clear to me. It might have been more of a glare on my TV, because as I'm editing this video, it actually doesn't look that bad with the original respray that was on the chopper. As we check out these liveries, I'm going to go ahead and point out some things that I thought were cool on a few of them.
I'm not going anywhere.
This Urban Warrior livery has a cool lightning bolt emblem behind the co-pilot and pilot doors. The large geometric livery also has a pretty cool emblem, what looks to be a lightning bolt coming out of a 6 with 7 stars around it. The Desert Fractal has an emblem similar to the Zancudo one, however the wording is slightly different between the two. And the large geometric livery is probably my favorite, featuring an emblem with a skull. Definitely gives it a little bit of a menacing look. For the respray options, we have a primary and secondary color. The primary color covers the majority of the aircraft, where the secondary color is applied to the air data probes, which can be seen on the nose, as well as some details around the side of the aircraft. One detail looks to be almost a handle, as well as the skid struts. And that concludes all the customization for this helicopter. Here's a closer look at this vehicle. It essentially has the same look as the regular Conada, however there are a few main differences that could be picked out. Of course, the 50 cal machine guns and missiles, the searchlight and camera in the front of the chopper, which can only be activated by NPCs and missions, as well as the crates in the back of the aircraft, where in the regular Conada, that area serves as 2 additional seats. And also the interior is the same as the regular Conada, as you're going to see here shortly. For my personal customization, I ended up going with a primary and secondary matte color olive drab. And I also went with the large digital livery. I thought this was one of the coolest out of all of them, with the skull emblem. So I also decided to do some tests with this helicopter. The first one I did was a speed test. Now I decided to test this alongside the regular Conada to see if there were any differences between these two aircrafts, because they are relatively the same. And to perform this test, I'm using a race that I created here. I decided to use the top-down view so you can see the ground in terms of comparison between the two helicopters. I decided not to try to hit the checkpoints, as you typically have to slow down because these choppers climb very rapidly, and I figured that it might not be as accurate of a test. I wanted to eliminate that variable. But what I found with this test is it appears the regular Conada is slightly faster than the weaponized Conada. By the time it ended up getting to the end of the map, it broke down quicker than the weaponized Conada. I want to say 8 to 10 seconds quicker. So given that, like I said, it does appear that the regular Conada is slightly faster than the weaponized Conada. I also did some lap time tests between these two helicopters, and I was finishing the laps a bit quicker with the regular Conada as opposed to the weaponized one. Of course, this most likely would be due to the fact of having slower top speed, but overall the best person in the community to determine overall performance of vehicles in game is Bruffy1322. At the time that I'm making this video, he hasn't made one for this vehicle. He may in the future, and I know his GTAcars.net site will have the results, so I highly recommend checking that out. Again, at this time he doesn't have the results in. I know he will in the future, but I just figured I'd share a little bit of the findings that I found upon testing the performance of this vehicle. Moving on to the weapons, this vehicle has missiles and 50 cal machine guns. Starting with the missiles, you can fire 2 at a time or 2 back to back, and there is a 3-second cooldown from when you can fire them again. Pretty much the same as the Buzzard. I'm actually very surprised they decided to add a cooldown like that to this vehicle. We saw this also with the F-160 Raiju in this update. And considering Rockstar has not made this change to a handful of older vehicles, such as the older jets like the Hydra and Laser, as well as some older helicopters, it seems very odd that Rockstar would now once again start adding cooldowns to missile fires. And in terms of the accuracy on these missiles, they seem to be the same on just about every other vehicle in GTA Online, with the exception of the missiles on the Deluxo and Stromberg, which those missiles are much more accurate on those vehicles. For the secondary weapon, the 50 cal machine guns, these can be operated by the pilot just like the Aquila, whereas the Hunter needs a co-pilot to operate these machine guns. These weapons appear to have the same fire rate and damage on all 3 of these aircraft. However, still no match for the quad miniguns that are on the OG Annihilator, that's for sure. In terms of armor testing, I was initially very shocked at how weak this helicopter was. It doesn't take a single hit from a missile. I tried also the handheld proximity missile, RPG, explosive ammo for the MK2 heavy sniper, as well as the railgun, and a single hit from all of them blew up this helicopter immediately. In comparison to some of the other helicopters, especially the Hunter, this would seem very weak. However, I went back and did a little bit of testing even with some of the older helicopters, such as the Hunter, Aquila, and Stealth Annihilator. It almost seems like Rockstar nerfed these vehicles also, as I remember these vehicles in the past being able to take multiple explosive rounds, as well as even a few missile hits. I'm talking particularly about the Aquila and Hunter here. Even the Buzzard in the past, I want to say, was able to take 1 or 2 explosive hits from the heavy sniper until it blew up. But now that doesn't seem to be the case. I'm not sure if in this same update with the nerf on the weapons from the Laser and Hydra, if also they nerfed the armor capability on some of these older vehicles. But it's definitely interesting to see this. It pretty much puts the armor capability of these vehicles on the same level as the weaponized Conada. So is the weaponized Conada worth it? I would say definitely not. Even with Rockstar nerfing the armor capability of these older helicopters, the weaponized Conada is really just a more expensive Buzzard. In fact, it's 2 times the price. And you can't spawn the weaponized Conada wherever you want in free mode as you can with the Buzzard through being a VIP or CEO, as well as the Buzzard being able to transport an additional 2 players. Even the Aquila and Hunter with their trade prices is just about as expensive as the weaponized Conada. And even being on the same level of armor capability, the Aquila has stealth capability, as well as spamming missile fire, can haul up to 4 players, as well as the Hunter being pretty much the strongest helicopter we have in the game. It has the regular lock-on and free-in missiles, as well as barrage missiles, which you can use back-to-back, an explosive gunner turret, which your co-pilot can use, the ability to carpet bomb, as well as even having countermeasures. And also, as we saw, the competitive performance seemed similar, possibly even slightly worse than the regular Conada. And that's everything for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it extremely beneficial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it. As always, have a great day.